Thank you, sir and madam, for detailed, elaborate reply. Thank you. Definitely will work for the whatever your thought. Yeah.
Can I say something?
I have a more provocative answer, but maybe I'll make even more enemies. But think about it, consider it. Are Indians ready for democracy? I want to ask a question. Ancient India was not a democracy. We had good noble kings who did very well for our country. Western idea of democracy is itself in test because they're also having serious social problems. You see, including United States, about its democracy, about its institutions. Now, democracy was proposed in ancient times in places like Greece and so on. They were very small, and the idea was that everybody is highly educated. If you have a very educated population, they can make these decisions for what is the best for the country. But if they are not that well informed, then they will be more emotional. So my question is this: you don't run a cricket team based on democracy of the players. There is a captain who makes decisions. You don't run an army based on the democracy of all the soldiers. It's the generals who decide. You don't run a corporate entity based on all the factory workers electing and voting, deciding what the policy will be, what the product will be, how the pricing will be. You have executives who make decisions. So if most areas that are competitive, that have to compete with other people, require subject matter experts to decide, not democracy. A surgeon does not, how a surgery will be done is decided by the most qualified people who are surgeons. You don't go to all the staff and the nurses and all these people in the hospital to vote for how to do this particular surgery because they don't know. So, any expertise, whether it is medicine, whether it is cricket, whether it is, whatever, it is not decided by democracy. The court does not decide based on a democracy, what is everybody sitting in the court, what do you think, is he right, is he guilty, not guilty, it's not decided. It's decided by people who are experts. So why couldn't governance be also by people who are real subject matter experts rather than people who are popular? It's a question, it's a very provocative question. I'm not saying yes or no, but I'm asking this question that intellectuals like you should raise. We can be very proud we've done better than we were, and that is true. We are better than we were, and the government is better than the previous government, that is true. But even this government has to do a lot just to emotionally manage people, which a China does not need to do. They don't have to worry about it, they can go faster. So I'm just leaving this as a food for thought for future debate.
Malhotra, my question to you would be, my name is Suresh Kochar, I'm from Nationalist Time. I'm also a social media influencer, that way if you can call it. My question is simple. I come from a state called Kerala because I grew up in Hyderabad. I can speak Telugu fluently. My question to you is the brainwashing which happens in university. Now we speak of JNU and you're going to one such university tomorrow or day after at HCU. These brainwashings we believe starts in the colleges. But I can tell you that way back when Nehru was the Prime Minister, that time any student, and sir is the two civil service officers sitting here, any student, civil service officer who qualified from Kerala had to undergo an intelligence background check. This is the time EMS Namboothiri part was. So my question is, the brainwashing is starting at the school level in states like Kerala, with the student unions and all that. So by the time the student comes to the college, they are primed to be a rebel against the system. How do we tackle this? Because I don't think it's happening in many states, but it's happening in a few states. Thank you.
I think the problem is universal in the sense that school education is not very very patriotic, and good history, good values are not being taught. And so it is the old education system, curriculum is not very good for children all over the country. And the parents are not very well educated about what to teach in these terms, where parents have their own jobs and they themselves have been raised in this Nehruvian idea of secularism and so on, without proper understanding of our own history. So neither the parents nor the school system teach this, and the gurus could be the only other vehicle. The gurus are just teaching their meditation and their puja, bhakti and all. They're not teaching things about nation. They're not teaching the Arth Shastra, for example. They're not teaching what are the lessons from Mahabharata that you can put in your life today. They're not teaching Dharma Shastra, they're teaching Upanishads, which is very good, Gita, which is very good, and various pujas and all that, which is all very nice, I like that. But none of the influences on the child is building this kind of character that we want, like some of the very strong countries like China are building their character. So it is being filled in by media and social media. This is raising the social media, Instagram and all these things, raising the children for, you know. So by the time they come to college, they don't even have their parents' supervision to keep an eye on them. At least at home they have that. So now they are out of the supervision of parents and they are mingling with other students and they are trying to impress each other, peer pressure to conform, and the old guard of professors in these universities are all very left-wing types and they move the students in that direction. So this is what the dynamics is, a very difficult thing. Now after 8 years of new government, they have not been able to transform either the NCERT curriculum or the UPSC curriculum or the professors on a large enough scale, because BJP and RSS do not have a deep bench of highly qualified trained intellectuals that can fill in these jobs. Because it was not, the focus was not on creating intellectual Kshatriyas, the focus of the Shakha is not creating intellectuals. So that is a vacuum we don't have in our country. The left has created these ecosystems and we have not created a sufficiently good, powerful ecosystem. So that is a dangerous situation we are facing right now. Now things are improving but very slowly. We don't have that much time. I don't believe that China giving us too much time. Things will happen fast. Things on the global stage are happening very quickly. And technology-wise, we're lagging behind. We are not putting, if you look at percent of GDP invested in R&D, India is one of the lowest in the world, even today. So how do we catch up with technology, R&D and technology if we are not investing enough? There is money with the billionaires, but they are living good life, making profit and living good life, not putting it back into long-term R&D. What's the reason? Why are these guys who are making so much money not able to invent chat GPT or search engines or platforms or AI engines or all the technologies coming, we are buying, importing from somewhere. There is no excuse. China, a much poorer country than India, 50, 60 years ago, has educated its people, does not depend on Apple or Amazon or Google or Facebook. They have their own, and they are not only doing this very good job for domestic control of the social media for their own people, but exporting it to Africa, Latin America. Many countries are using Chinese platform. So how can we say? When I was 20 years ago, I was told that one advantage China can never have is software, because we are more creative and they are communist and they are not creative, but look, they have gone ahead of us in artificial intelligence. I was told that we have the English language advantage, they don't have, so we will do better. All these slogans and all the newspapers and all the politicians all over the world very proud that we are the software guru and whatnot. Point is, the reality is this. You are a software city also here, big software hub. We are supplying labor to the American multinationals to do the software which they will own. They are the owners of the intellectual property, they are the owners of the patent, we are supplying the labor. So just because we are supplying labor doesn't mean we own the technology. There is a difference between whose technology it is, which is American, and who is supplying the labor. So we have trained labor to get jobs and they bring repatriation of income and good for cities like this where you can apply, bring a lot of create jobs. It is good. But China not only supplied labor for factories, but they ended up outsmarting their client, outsmarting the Americans, building the products themselves. Better, cheaper to compete against them. And learned the technology from the Americans and then went ahead. Why couldn't we do that? After all, Microsoft is here with tens of thousands of people, and I'm told Google is here and Apple is here, all these people are here. They've been here for a long time. Lakhs of our people are working. Why are we still dependent on their products and not able to build the same product ourselves in our own name? So this is, are we just followers? Are we tech coolies? I mean, are we Vishwa coolies and Vishwa chelas, followers and doing dirty work and low-level work for the owners? Or are we, how do we call ourselves Vishwa Guru? We're certainly not Vishwa Guru technologically. We're certainly not Vishwa Guru in terms of media and discourse and academic. Who teaches, who controls the discourse on India is not the people in India. These discourses are sent from places like Harvard, the international discourse. So I think there are serious issues and it's difficult to get our people to take this up seriously. That's the if you say too much, then they don't like you, they block you. This is a problem.
Also on the China issue, a couple of years ago, actually a decade or so ago, 2 decades ago, China encouraged English language education. They brought in many teachers from America to teach English. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they said, enough, we're not going to teach our school children English anymore. We don't need that at all. In fact, the government controls science, math and history education in China. There was an edtech company that was doing some STEM type course and they were doing it well. Overnight, it was a publicly traded company. They made it a government, an NGO, overnight. I'm not saying we do such things, but we can learn from the trends. So China basically says that the world will be speaking Mandarin and we don't need to teach our people English anymore. Whereas we have not even been able to make textbooks in the vernacular languages successfully. Even though we know research has shown that children actually learn better in their mother tongues. We don't have science and math in different vernacular languages even till today. Though the education policy sort of broadly talks about, oh, we should have all these courses, every subject should be taught in the vernacular. We don't have teachers that are trained, we don't have curriculum, we don't have textbooks, we have nothing. Whereas China is on the other way, they are so aggressive that they've stopped English altogether.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kandula Ramana Reddy. I am from Kurnool district. इतने देर से हम एजुकेशन के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. In Telugu there is a word Kuti kosam koti vidyalu. Chaduvu is only reading and writing. Vidya is different. Okay. So many people are doing their degrees and master degrees only put their in wedding cards beside their names. Okay. And Vidya is a different, like ITI, vocational courses, some other these things. You said China is not going to give more time. Okay, in India, for manufacturing sector, there is no skill labor. Today, who is going to correct this? Unnecessarily people are studying degrees, BTech, in software. If you take civil engineering doing software, mechanical engineering doing software, everybody is going to software side. They are studying 4 years in engineering college, and then 6 months they are doing course in Amirpet, and then everybody is going to software companies. So our skilled manpower is not working for our country, our production, for our nation. Who is going to correct this?
So, the problem is we do not have a planning mentality. The education people are educating separately, the industry is separate in what need they have. So, education is not a training for industry, and the industry, the education is also, when people go abroad, they study whatever the hell they want, they're not bringing back the technology we need. China sends people, they know we need so many people of this, that technology, and they go bring it back, they steal it, whatever they do, they bring it back because China needs it. So there is a very central, this is a benefit of planning. Now you can blame the center, but why not Andhra do its own planning? You could have a state level, very detailed plan saying this is our industrial policy, this is how many engineers, how many technicians, how many people who are crane operators, how many whatever, all kind of jobs. They are not all theoretical jobs like computer science. They are not all software jobs. There are many kinds of jobs, and so you can create an industrial plan, a development plan, and an education plan all combined, and a security plan, and be a model state. I think that the states should take some leadership and develop their own strategy and show that, I don't see of a single state that has done this. Take artificial intelligence, the impact of AI will be very serious. And it's all being done from the Niti Ayog, and Niti Ayog are getting it done by American consultants. Now every state should have a different impact. The impact of AI on an agriculture state, on a state with making pharma, state making the automobile industry, state with banking, different impact on who will lose jobs and what kind of new jobs are created and what kind of training is needed. So you take your own state. Why does Andhra not have an AI policy? Its own AI policy is needed by every state. You need a state level technological commission. A commission. So the states have to take this responsibility, in my opinion.
So thank you for the input, sir. I have a question to Mrs. Vijaya Vishwanathan. You've been talking about, ma'am, the due diligence at a micro level by the parents, at a macro level by the administrators. Now, from the Indian context, the hurdles are the diversity which we have and the span of control to the administrators. Now, Rajiv ji was just referring to the example of Andhra Pradesh, for example. Unless and until the government, now that the administration, they are trying to number of votes across the country and all, the span of control is a problem. These are the limitations which the existing government has. What is your suggestion? Is Vedic introduction of Vedic mathematics in the NEP as one subject, or introduction of Gurukula, which was existing before the British had come into? Do you think is that a solution for us to come back to our original winning ways?
Okay, so control, let's answer this in two parts. The first part is nothing against IAS officers.